right, and we have back, ladies and gentlemen, for our wrestling segment, and we have Mark Nowotarski all the way from Detroit, making his Legends TV debut, and 1,000 miles later. How you feeling, Mark?
Well, pretty good. It was a long ride in, but as you know, it's all worthwhile.
Last night we went to see Felix Cabrera and Robert Ross, great blues players. And,
Tremendous.
Larry Graham, who was playing in the next room, walked through the show. It was like a knife in my heart because I wanted to see Larry Graham too. Can't be in two places at the same time.
It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah. Felix and Robert are master musicians. They've been on the show many times. And tell us about Bouts, and Brawls.
Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, Evan and gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, is all about exactly the story of professional wrestling in Detroit and its surrounding areas. Now, naturally, if you're a wrestling fan, and depending upon the level of you being a wrestling fan, you associate Detroit with the Sheik, with the original Sheik.
That's right.
Okay. Supernatural powers, the wild man from Syria, you know.
Fireballs.
That's right. That's right. You know, I mean, you name it.
John the Poet's going to throw a fireball later. Just
Luckily, I have I have a fireproof glasses on, so luckily I am protected. But this particular story, Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, tells the story of Detroit pro wrestling before the Sheik. Naturally, it touches on the Sheik, and it continues up until about 8 months ago, and goes into contemporary wrestling. And there are many people which go under the category, which even I am, of old schoolers. There are some people that call themselves old schoolers. They believe the world began and ended at a certain time. No, my watch keeps working. Okay, it continues. There are promotions that are out there which pay homage to the past, and they do it very well. Just the fact that these promotions do pay homage is a tremendous tip of the hat. And so old school still is around. It's just a matter of whether or not you accept it.
So I'm an old school fan, but I appreciate and respect a lot of today's wrestling. I think there are guys like Daniel Bryan, CM Punk if he ever comes back, etc. so on, Austin Aries. These guys are doing things that guys 40 years ago wouldn't have dreamed of. I mean, to be quite honest. But a lot of times today it's spot, spot, spot. There's no psychology. If they miss a spot, they stop like a deer in the headlights, and they're just like lost. So, and many times it's just like too much. They give you too much, and the next day you don't remember. I couldn't name the results sometimes the next day after a show. So what's your take on all of this?
Well, the world of professional wrestling has, depending on your opinion, evolved or devolved. It's
a little of both.
Tries to keep up with the times. When I was much younger, it was said that my attention span was 45 seconds. Now, whether or not that's true is irrelevant. But the young people of today, or younger people of today, it's been said their attention span is approximately 5 seconds.
Right.
So you're trying to keep up, and you're trying to get that attention. You know, as at times it works, at times it does not. You've hit upon something, Evan, that I feel is critical. The psychology of professional wrestling is almost non-existent today, which is a shame.
It depends who. I mean, some guys are masters and other guys are clueless. You know, if you walk into the ring and 8 seconds into the match you're doing a high spot, it's pointless.
Yeah, where do you go from there? And the fans, there are some fans that are dedicated, and there are other fans that are dedicated, but they just want to watch wrestling, period. They don't care what it was, and just as you have said, 10 minutes later, I've forgotten what I've seen.
In the old days, less was more.
Yes.
Ernie Ladd, who was like 6'8" and almost 300 pounds, he'd put a thumb in your throat. The people go out of their minds. Today they're doing hurricane ranas and 40 other moves to get the same effect as the thumb in the throat, and and destroying their bodies on top of it. So
there's no build-up like you're saying in the old days. Like a storyline that would start off.
In the old days, they would pull a foreign object out. The fans would go out of their minds. It was it was simpler. It was simpler, and like anything else, there are guys today that have the psychology and guys that don't. There are great wrestlers. There are awful wrestlers, and it was the same back then.
Yeah.
Some of those, you know, just because it's old school didn't mean it was great either. There were a lot of awful wrestlers back then.
Correct, I agree. And you just brought up another thing, John, is the buildup is not what it used to be. It was simpler. Was it a simpler time? Maybe, but I was a lot younger.
What I found interesting back in the day was you could get a guy like Dick Murdoch or Ray Stevens. They had the big beer belly. Didn't matter. They were great. They knew how to work a crowd. You know, they were master showmen. Today, these guys wouldn't get looked at. They go, they're too old, they're out of shape, and
Exactly.
it's
The
ridiculous.
expectations are,
Ridiculous.
they're, I feel, much too high.
Anyway, why don't we take a look at a clip from your movie before we continue? This is a clip from Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, folks. Directed, produced, publicized, one-man team, Mark Nowotarski. Check it out, folks.
Oh, hello there. I'm Mark Nowotarski, producer of the Sheik documentary and Battles, Bouts, and Brawls. I'm just leaving the studio here, and I'm preparing for my next event. And that event is going to be here at Penelope's Resale Venue, Friday, September the 19th, 2014. The countdown, the double feature, and a whole lot more is going to be here. Folks, we're going to have 4 Detroit wrestling icons. We're going to have co-host of Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, the mysterious Movado, XICW's DBA, Ring of Honor's Truth Martini, and the Albanian Nightmare, Mark Joka. These 4 individuals are going to be here giving their statements, their comments, and answering questions for you during this event. They're going to be spending the evening with us. Also, we're going to be having the Undercards Ring Girls. Some of the most beautiful women, bar none. They too are going to be here. They want to be part of this experience. What experience is that? It's going to be a double feature, folks. It's going to be the 2 wrestling documentaries that are taking the professional wrestling world by storm. First up, you're going to see the Sheik, wrestling's greatest villain. As you know, the Sheik was, and to some even is, Detroit Pro Wrestling. As a matter of fact, we are less than 1 mile away from the Sheik's final U.S. bout against Sweet Daddy Malcolm Monroe. We're less than 1 mile. And we're going to be seeing the Sheik, wrestling's greatest villain. That's one feature. The second feature is my newest feature, the documentary that goes before the Sheik and after the Sheik. Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, the story of pro wrestling in Detroit and its surrounding areas. So folks, one night, Friday, September the 19th, showtime is at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. Given these hard times and wanting to get the most for your economic situation, $10 is all it's going to take to get you here. $10. Bring your date, bring your wife, bring your mistress, bring your boss, bring your friends, bring your family, bring your enemies. Old schoolers, you're welcome to come. I encourage you to come. I want you here so you can see the experience of Battles, Bouts, and Brawls. The Sheik, wrestling's greatest villain, the 4 icons of Detroit wrestling, and those beautiful ring girls. All of that. You can get your tickets online at insent.net. That's insent.net. You can also get your tickets here at Penelope's Venue Resale, located on Dix in Southgate. Don't miss it, folks. One time, reasonably priced. Bring the family, bring everybody. It's going to be fun for all. Don't miss it.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Mark's event. And where are the ring girls, Mark? You Yeah, the ring girls over there. What about here?
Well, Evan, you might be surprised. As you know, sparing no expense in producing these
You
programs.
spared the expense of bringing the 3 ring girls.
Well, but you see, it was a matter of an issue of their transportation.
Yeah, that's always the story. Every promoter will tell you that. Yeah.
As you are aware of my transport, and the ladies sadly took umbrage with that. They didn't really want to come in that particular mode. They wanted first class executive suite, and
That's right.
They
They don't understand pro wrestling.
Well, but they bring a certain element of beauty, glamour, and style to any event.
That's right. And I'm in Battles, Bouts, and Brawls.
Yes,
and,
you are.
And I saw the Sheik film as well, and it was tremendously done. And
Thank you.
Unless you live in the Detroit area, I don't think a lot of people realize just how huge the Sheik was. How long was his run on top?
The Sheik was top man, I believe. It started in the 60s and went, his promotion, because he was the promoter, he was big time wrestling, officially ended in 1980, I believe.
So he had a 20-year run on top.
He did.
And main eventing pretty much.
But he continued.
Yeah.
He continued after that and still did. I'll give you an example. Many events at Cobo Arena were standing room only, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000. And one of his most epic feuds was against Bobo Brazil. Now, in 1984, now this is after the prime, I attended a bout where the main event was the Sheik against Bobo Brazil in the Hamtramck Community Center. Now, this is quite a smaller venue than Cobo Arena, and I believe that evening we may have had a crowd of 300, 400, maybe 500.
Right.
But I'll tell you something, and it's in the ending credits of the Sheik, that bout, and it's one of the bonus matches in the Sheik documentary. That bout, those gentlemen still had the same moves. Moving, looking up. Even the fire, as you saw in that promo earlier, was summoned. So these gentlemen gave their all. It didn't matter how many people were there.
I saw the Sheik in Philly in the early 90s, and he wasn't a kid anymore. This is a funny story. You had all the Smart Mark media there, and when this guy walked out, people were scared of him. It's like it was total, like you forgot, he looked like a homicidal killer, the Sheik. He really looked like a terrorist, and he was great. He was one of the great, some people think he's the greatest heel of all time. Yeah,
I certainly do, and Evan, you've just supported that statement.
I mean, it is debatable. Some people say Buddy Rogers, some people say Killer Kowalski, Fred Blassie, but he's right at the top of the list, the original Sheik, absolutely.
Where it comes to drawing heat and actually putting the fear in people, I don't know of many others. These other gentlemen did, and I will also include Wild Bull Curry. Wild Bull Curry has been mentioned very, very much. And
I love Kowalski. Kowalski was a friend of mine. Yeah.
I don't disagree on any of these gentlemen, but when it comes to the Sheik, world-renowned, just as Blassie.
For sheer charisma, I don't think anybody touched, Flair, Billy Graham, Buddy Rogers, but the Sheik, he was menacing. It was a different kind of heel. He was menacing.
He was. When he came in, you would do all the heckling and whatnot. All the Sheik had to do was look toward you.
That's right. People would actually get scared.
And you would do your impression of Jesse Owens.
That's right. That's right.
Pretty fast.
So Mark, tell everybody how they could get the DVDs, and once again, where's the big event?
Well, the big event is located in a suburb of Detroit, Michigan called Southgate. It is a one-time only event. As stated earlier, you're going to have these 4 icons of professional wrestling. The mysterious Movado, one half of the co-hosting team of Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, member of the Bumpin' Uglies, and also appeared on America's Got Talent. He will be there. He's breaking a decade-old silence. The only other time he's actually spoken is in Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, being the host. Also, from Ring of Honor and XICW, Mr. Truth Martini.
Very entertaining, that guy.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Also, second-generation wrestler and promoter, XICW's DBA, Malcolm Monroe Jr., who, in my opinion, has not only the best and premier promotion in Detroit, I'll go on record and say in the country.
All right.
And also the Albanian Nightmare, Mark Joka. These four
I thought
individuals.
John was the Albanian Nightmare.
Well, you may have to have a little discussion with Mr. Joka there. Those beautiful ring girls, they're going to be there. And then also, for the first time ever, showing a double feature of Battles, Bouts, and Brawls along with the Sheik, wrestling's greatest villain. All of these things at Penelope's Venue in Southgate, Michigan, located on Dix.
In New York, we say venue. You say venue in Detroit?
Well, the accent they grab, you know,
Okay,
the accent they grab there, that is depending upon.
All right.
Tickets are available, and everything is available, ladies and gentlemen, at insent.net. You look at the main page, right in the middle, it says click here. Don't look at it, click here. And then you'll be able to get the tickets to the event. You'll be able to get Battles, Bouts, and Brawls, the Sheik documentary, you'll even a Battles, Bouts, and Brawls official T-shirt.
All right. All right.
Fantastic.
And Mark, we want you to stick around because we're going to have more wrestling in just a moment with the stars of the SWA. So stick with us, folks. We will be back
you.
with some more wrestling in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.